Hey, I'm Angie Cha-Cha, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Angie Cha-Cha.
But I'll be here, and you two are more than welcome to come over here and get whatever you want of his that belong to him. I said there's stuff in here that belongs to me too, so you need to ask whose is what. And I said because I still have to pack up a lot of stuff in here that's mine. And I said, but y'all are more than welcome to have, his things. So they ended up coming over. They ended up getting getting some things of his that they wanted. There was a lot of stuff that I left there that was his, like unimportant stuff, clothes and stuff like that I just didn't want to bring or take with me because I had my own stuff that I needed, that I had to pack up, and I packed up into a the biggest truck you can get from U-Haul, and moved my stuff and put it in a storage in Georgia. And once I cashed the check, I ended up renting me a house out there in Georgia, and I paid for him to get cremated. And then his remains, after we had the viewing of his body.
Tell me about that, the viewing. How did that go? And did his motorcycle club show up?
Oh yes, all of them did. In the vision that I had, it was just like the vision that I had. They was all there. The same exact thing that I seen in my vision is what I seen in real life.
How were they treating you when they were there?
They were all very nasty to me. It was a very bad experience for me. They all sat on one side with Maurice's two ex-wives, because mind you, he was married. Before he married the lady that he was with when he got with me, he was married to another lady before that, and that's who he had his two children with that were adults. Then he had the second wife who he had the child with that had the Down syndrome. So they all got together with the motorcycle club and they sat on one side, and it was just me and my daughter. And like one of the club POs, she sat over there on the side with me, because when it all happened and after he died, I told her, like, my daughter is there, she's in the house, can she please come and stay with you, because she's grieving and she doesn't have me there to be there for her until I get there. So she was very helpful, and she let my daughter stay with her until I got, got to Virginia. And so she was very supportive even at the funeral too. And then my daughter.
You had a property of patch, right? Did you give that back to the club?
Yeah, they came after the viewing and all that, and they wanted me to turn everything in. They was trying to take my whole vest, but I told them they can kiss my fucking ass, because I'm not giving y'all my vest. He paid for this vest. I'll take these patches off and y'all can have the patches, because that's what's really y'all's property, not my mother's vest. So I took off all the Outcast Motorcycle Club patches, and I gave them to them, the PO patch, and then the rocker in the back, and then the old man, and I gave them all those pieces. And then they wanted me to turn in other stuff too, but I lied to them and told them that I didn't have the stuff anymore, that I destroyed it, but I didn't. I still had t-shirts and stuff, and I kept it because I wasn't giving them that stuff. So I ended up keeping it. And I ended up keeping some of his stuff that he had too. So, but
did he get buried with this patch on?
Yeah, he got buried with his he had on the vest. When I did the viewing for his body, he was in his motorcycle gear like you seen in the video. He had on all his motorcycle gear. Then after that, I had him cremated, and his remains were flown to Texas, where his grandfather lived at, because I figured, it would be better to have him down there because his son lived down there too. So he had like more family in Texas, and being that his grandfather was the closest person to him, I just felt it would be right to have him buried in Texas so that his grandfather could come and visit him whenever he wanted to.
How long was he in the club for?
He was in the club for, we was together for 5 years, so I'm gonna say 4 years.
So he must have known these people for a lot longer than when he just joined the club, right? He probably knew them for a lot longer.
Um, I think he may have met, oh yeah, he did. The guy that he came in under, he actually knew, because his girlfriend, that guy's girlfriend, and Maurice were actually like stationed together. I think they were in the same unit as each other, and that's how he got affiliated with them. It's through her. She introduced him to her boyfriend, and he was in the club, and then that's how he ended up inviting him into the club.
So where do you go from there?
After that, I go and I move to Georgia, to Atlanta. I get me a house. I end up not being in a good place mentally. After losing him, the people at the bank, the guy at the bank, he kept telling me that I needed to get a financial advisor, but I'm hard headed and I didn't do that. And before you know it, all the money ran out,
Was
and
it a lot?
it was $120,000.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yep, and it ran out in like about a year because I wasn't working and I was just spending and I wasn't flipping the money, and I
Were
didn't
you
get it.
living outside your means?
Yeah, pretty much buying a lot of stuff, going on trips to Puerto Rico. I went twice. I funded a trip to um, Las Vegas for my sister, my daughter, and when one of my best friends got married out there. So I funded that. I paid for her two children's flights so they can be there to watch their mom get married.
Money goes fast. It
It
really
does.
does.
Does going out to eat all the time, buying zones of weed every month to, suppress my emotions so they're not as strong as they would have been if I wasn't smoking, to calm my nerves because I got anxiety really bad. So it was a really, really bad time for me. I ended up enduring what is called complicated grief, because statistics say that you typically grieve a lost loved one for like 2 years. And my grief lasted for like 7 years. And it really hindered me a lot in my life, to where I was just like really, really depressed. And after the money ran out, I ended up homeless, and decided to live in my car, um, because I tried to move into an apartment, but I realized that all of my money that I had, because I was still getting child support from my first two children's father, back pay, um, that money was all gonna go to my rent, and I wasn't gonna be able to have anything else outside of that. So I made the conscious decision to just live in my car so that I could have money to do things. And that's what I did. And unfortunately, it ended up becoming a permanent situation for me, off and on, that I dealt with for 8 years, that I actually just got out of last year when I got this apartment that I'm in now.
Well, you're doing a lot better now.
Yeah, I am. But it was a lot to get here. I wish I would have had a support system, or I wouldn't have ended up the in homelessness as long as I did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have ended up grieving as long as I did, but because I didn't have a support system, I ended up grieving for a long time, and it hindered me to the point like I couldn't work. I was just so mentally distraught. I couldn't even hold a job, and because I was dealing with homelessness, that just made things more difficult. Everybody that I thought loved and cared about me, I realized didn't, and that includes my children. So, unfortunately, I
Wow.
don't I don't have a relationship with my children, and I have four children, and I don't talk to any of them.
None
So,
of them.
none of them, none of them.
You just have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I do. I made my peace with apologizing to them for anything that I ever did that hurt them. Even so much as asking them what did I do, to be specific, because I did not want to give a general apology to them. Um, but after he died, I had a spiritual awakening. I was always spiritual because my grandmother is Buddhist. So I basically was raised, you know, knowing about um, reincarnation and different spiritual practices. And so I've always been tapped in somewhat, but when he died, it was like the veil was lifted fully, and I was able to see things for what they truly were and people for who they truly were. So the people that I thought was my friends wasn't my friends. And the people that I considered family were really relatives, because there's a difference between family and relatives. And so I learned that they're not really my family. And I also learned that I was born into a family full of karmic soulmates. So they're actually ops of mine, most likely from past lives, people that I've had karmic relationships with, people that have been enemies of mine that I am now in this lifetime dealing with, the aftermath of things that happen in other lifetimes with these people that are supposed to appear as my family, but they're really my enemies. So, and that includes my children, unfortunately, too. My two older children have sat and watched me be with homeless, and they were adults when I was homeless, and they had their own place, but none of them offered to me any type of assistance to help me or anything. Not even to, hey, mom, you can come over and take a shower, or hey, mom, come over and get you a hot meal. Even if, my son, he was staying with his baby mom and her dad, and that was his excuse that his name wasn't on the apartment, so he couldn't help me. My daughter had her own place, a low income place, and she invited me to come, but it was only because she wanted me to watch my granddaughter for her while she went back to school. And then it became her just being like really nitpicky while I was there. She would take my granddaughter and go spend time with her boyfriend instead of leaving my granddaughter with me to spend time with me. And then she would be really nitpicky, like I'm making something to eat and she's behind me cleaning up. And it's just like, or she's doing stuff like, this was the one thing that just really blew my mind. She wanted me to take my shoes and turn them all over so that the soles of the shoes wasn't touching the floor, because she didn't want the soles of the shoes touching the floor, getting her carpet dirty. Yeah. So it was shit like that. And I just was like, I can't deal with this shit. So I just ended up leaving. And she did, tell me, like, you could just go. But, to this day, she tells me that she didn't say that, but she did definitely tell me that I could just go. So I was like, cool. And I just fucking left. So they're raised around my narcissistic family. Like I was telling you earlier, why I kept my third born and my last born away from my family was because of that reason. And
Yeah.
so I realized that my family is a bunch of fucking narcissists. Why? Because my mother raised them. We were all raised by her. She's narcissistic. And so my children was around that. I was around that. I too was narcissistic, but I've done a lot of deep shadow work and working on myself and healing myself and changing my ways and realizing the stuff that I did, and what studying psychology and studying narcissism so that I can pinpoint the red flag behaviors and change those things about myself. They don't want to open their eyes and see that, even though I've mentioned to all of them, including my siblings, that y'all are fucking narcissistic. But they don't want to take accountability because people don't like hearing the truth about themselves, especially when it's something negative
No,
about them.
they
So,
don't.
nope. So it's like my children, I've told them, I was like, hey, your grandma's narcissistic. So that means that y'all have narcissistic traits too. I have them too, because I don't want y'all to think that I'm excluding myself from this, like I'm better than y'all. No, I had to do a lot of work to get to this place. But y'all too have to take accountability and do the work that you need to do too. And I get that y'all are still young and it's going to take some time. But I started working on myself when I was like 25. Like my oldest, he's 30. My daughter is 27. And I already told them I made the conscious decision this year that y'all got until y'all are 30 years old to get your shit together and start doing the work that you need to do, for yourselves, or the door is going to be closed, because we're not doing no revolving door over here. At 25, your prefrontal cortex is already fully developed, which gives you the ability to start making better decisions for yourself and your life. So I'm giving you a 5-year fucking grace period after that until you're fucking 30 to get your fucking shit together. And if you don't want to get your shit together by then guess what? I'm cool. Like, I'm just gonna wash my hands with y'all, because I am already damn near 50 years old. I'm not gonna keep going down this path with each and every one of you all, and causing myself, extreme, mental anguish and emotional pain, because y'all are emotionally dismissive towards me. Y'all constantly emotionally invalidate me over and over again. And I dealt with that from my mother. I dealt with that from my father. I dealt with that from my siblings, because I'm the oldest. I'm not gonna do it no more. Like, I'm done. I'm good. I'm gonna live my life, and I'm gonna be at peace with it. Like, I dealt with enough mental anguish losing him, and then watching all of y'all just basically watch me be go through this. Like, I literally was fucking dying. Like, I literally was thinking of ways to end my fucking life, because I didn't want to be here no motherfucking more, because I was in that much fucking pain, and y'all didn't give a fuck. Y'all was okay with leaving me in that state of condition and being okay with it. Not calling to check on me, not asking what you can do for me, not being there for me in any kind of way. And the times that y'all was cool. I'm gonna give you your credit for that. But at the end of the day, too, I already see things for what they are. I'm too motherfucking intuitive. All that, the times that y'all were there, that wasn't genuine. Because if it was genuine, then it would have been consistent, and it would have been happening. And I wouldn't have been in this state where I was so fucked up in my head that I done blew through $120,000. Why wasn't none of y'all talking about go buy you a house, go buy you a car? Why wasn't y'all helping me mentally? Say, hey, you got all this money. Go buy you a house. You need to go get you a house with that money before you run out of the money. Hey, you need to invest that money. Where the was y'all at? Y'all was nowhere. All y'all was either sticking your hand out or in your feelings, because I had all this money and I wasn't sharing it with y'all, because y'all felt entitled to my inheritance.
That's how people are sometimes, right?
Yep, that's exactly how they are. So it opened my eyes. That's the good that came out of it, was that my eyes got fully fucking opened. And now I see everybody for who the fuck they are, including my children. And people think, you have children, and that, oh, those are your children, and they love you, No, everybody doesn't know how to love unconditionally. You can love people unconditionally, and they still will not reciprocate that back to you, because they have to learn it themselves. It has to be inside of them to even be able to extend that to somebody else. My mother and my father didn't know how to love unconditionally, but my grandmother did. And my grandmother was always teaching me. She seen me for who I was at a very young age, which is why she poured so much into me, because she knew that I was going to be the next matriarch. I was going to be the one to carry on what work that she was doing here. I would carry on and pursue after her to finish that work for our family's lineage. So that's what I'm here doing. I'm doing the work, and the people that are doing the work, and they're the ones that's being the generational trauma breakers. They're the ones that's the outcast in their family. They're the black sheep. They're the ones that's looked at like they're the problem. They're the villain in the story, because the other people, they're not doing the work that they need to do. So when you're this light and you're shining bright and everybody else is living in their darkness, of course you're going to be perceived as the bad one. So it just is what it is.
You just got to keep moving forward, and everything will work out for you.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just focus on me, what I need to do for myself, because I'm not going to live in the past, and I'm not going to allow anything that happened in the past to prevent me from moving forward in my life. I've forgiven all of them. I love all of them unconditionally, but I love them all from a distance. And they can't sit at my table with me. They can't go where I'm going. And it's cool. It's okay. I've ate that up a long time ago. So
Well, thank you so much for telling your story. I really appreciate it.
thank you so much for having me. I appreciated sharing my story with you and having our conversation. This was really nice. I liked it. I
Yeah.
appreciate
I hope it helps you with everything you got going on. And I'm sorry for your loss. That's
it.
a lot to deal with. I've been through similar situations.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. I'm grieving my brother, my grandmother, and my dad right now. My brother died in 2022. My dad and my grandma died last year, but it's not as bad as it was when I lost him
Yeah.
because I have a deeper understanding and overstanding for death now. So,
And we all go through it, right?
yep. And I'm glad I had this opportunity to share my story because it's more so just for me to be able to get my story out there to people and explain what happened on a deeper level. I've shared bits and pieces of it, but not to this level. So now
Yeah,
people can like really see more insight into what happened and what I went through because my story can help other people. So that's
definitely. If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too bad. Start your own podcast. Peace.
peace.